William Gray Walter, a British pioneer in the field of robotics, created some of the first documented autonomous robots in the year 1948. Their names were Elmer and Elsie, and they were said to be able to navigate around an obstacle-filled room, and once needing charge, they were able to travel back to their charging stations all on their own. There was no device that controlled them, it was just them and their sensors and their little logic brains. And now, 80 years later, this is just one of close to 1,000 different AI-powered products that were showcased at the Shanghai Expo this year. With this recent surge in robotics and AI, the Shanghai government has decided to put up some regulations and some guidelines involving humanoid robots, addressing what many call the AI revolution. Anyways, I thought this was cool, and so today in this video, I'm going to talk about it. When I found this news, I got really excited because it immediately made me think of RoboCop. And by the looks of it, we are getting closer to that being a reality. If you looked at the Shanghai Expo, there were so many cool robots and AI-powered devices that made you really think, wow, we're in the future. Anyways, with the Expo aside, let's go ahead and address the guidelines that were thrown up by the government of Shanghai. So first off, and I feel like this guideline is slightly obvious, but these products cannot pose any threat to human security. I'm really glad they threw this one out there because I'm really not trying to square up to a 250-pound block of metal. Unless, of course, I got that water gun on me, then I should be good to slide. But looking at the next point, it's slightly less obvious. I could just be saying that because I forgot what the word dignity means, but it was stated that these machines need to effectively safeguard human dignity. And really all that means is that these robots have to treat us with respect. I would imagine that's hard because us humans already have animals as pets just because they're slightly inferior to us. So I'd imagine that after all these AIs went back and reviewed all of the brain rot that I dumped into ChatGPT, they're going to lose all hope. But I guess that's something that's going to be addressed even more in the future. The final main point that came up was ethical concerns with robotics, as well as fail-safing the situations where these concerns are questioned. A common example is the trolley problem, but instead of you pulling the lever, it's a computer that's much smarter than you. How is this addressed? Who is to blame? Stuff like that. So the Shanghai government is ruling that the users of these AI products need to be properly trained on the ethical and lawful uses. And emergency systems need to be put into place that prevent worse outcome scenarios when it comes to these ethical concerns. And I feel like this training should already be being done, as when I was looking at the expo, I literally saw a giant robot being controlled with 2 gloves like it was real steel. So what's really stopping someone from buying it and then starting a boxing club? That would be cool, no hate, but that's something that should be addressed. What I thought was interesting about this was the similarities that could be found in the proposed laws of robotics by Russian-born American science fiction writer Isaac Asimov back in the 1940s. Via A Brief History of Robotics from Stanford, these are the 3 laws as stated. Number 1, a robot may not injure a human being or through an action allow a human being to come to harm. Number 2, a robot must obey the orders given by human beings except where such orders would conflict with the first law. Number 3, a robot must protect its own existence as long as such protection does not conflict with the first or second law. And though when these were proposed it was science fiction, now these are kind of transformed into real laws and guidelines that were released by the Shanghai government. So yeah, shout out Shanghai for taking the necessary precaution for what's to come in the future. And now I know if I'm ever getting slid on by a transformer, I'll make sure they're well versed in the new laws that were posed. Hopefully then they'll rethink their actions. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed, and as always, stay curious.